Hello people, this is NUSensei. Today I was doing a random search of my own name. What? Don't you do it? Yeah, it's being serious though. I do search my name every now and then, my channel name rather, to find out where I'm trending, where I'm being shared, and to get some more feedback on what people think. So I do search myself sometimes. And today, using a rather obscure search string, I found a link to Archery Australia, which makes sense. That's my national association. But what I found, and I didn't realize this at the time, was that an issue I raised last year was actually addressed, and I didn't know about it at the time. So I made a video about this last year, and I sent an email to the editor of the newsletter, and I didn't get a response, so I kind of held the grudge for a few months, and then I just dropped it and forgot about it. But it was actually dealt with, and it's been 7 months, and I never knew about this particular edition because they don't normally publish one in the year, or at least that I know of. So normally we get an email, a global email to all Australian members that there's a new article or new edition published, and I didn't remember seeing it, so I missed this edition, but here it is. But anyway, for those who are new and who don't know what's going on, in the September 2016 edition, or the October edition, which is mislabeled for some reason, there's an article from Dr. James Park called Canting the Bow, or Bow Cant Variation. And as you can see, that's my image. That's my thumbnail for my video, which you can see here. That's my video on canting the bow. And that was used as a heading for this article. And I want to clarify now that I didn't write this article. It's not fair for James or myself to say that this is my article, because it's his work, his research. And I wouldn't make a mistake like this, quite. I'm an English teacher. It'd be the first thing that would trigger me is this word. Anyway, so I sent a complaint to the official AA address of my email, and I outlined my concern about the image because it's a violation of copyright. It's unauthorized usage. It's not for the purpose of education or fair use, which doesn't apply in Australia, by the way. But yeah, it's my image, and as a YouTuber and as a member of Archery Australia and a club president of an Australian archery club affiliated with Archery Victoria, I had a bit of a grievance because you can't just use me in your newsletter, even though it's my national newsletter. This wasn't used to report on me or to reference me. It's just my own promotional images used for a different article. That was the basis of my complaint. I assumed that this was an oversight and not a malicious act to exploit my popularity. I think a lot of people who do volunteer work for newsletters will get a little lazy. And I know this because when you do a search on Google for canting the bow, you get this photo or this image, and you get this image. And both these images were used in the September article. I'm pretty sure that James didn't do it. It would have been an editing oversight. And yeah, most of the time when you're doing just quick Google searches, you can find what you need. But sometimes you need to be very careful. Well, all the time, you should be very careful about copyright and what you take from. And in this case, I identified my image and I kicked a bit of fuss about it. It was I made a pretty big deal on my Facebook page, and a few people were having suggestions and comments and so on. But anyway, so there was no response directly. I don't remember ever getting one. So I was kind of a little grumpy for a few months, and it turned out that in December there was an apology, and I completely missed this because there was no direct contact to me for some reason. Not through my official email or my channel email or anything else. So it was done without me knowing. I assume I would read it, but this was exactly what I asked for. So here we go. So there's an apology from the editor on the first page of the December 2016 edition. And the apology reads as such: in the September issue of Archery Insights, I used the following photo in relation to an article on bow cant variations by Dr. James Park to demonstrate bow cant. And that's the image as mentioned. The photo is of Mr. David Nguyen, that's me. I would like to clarify that Mr. Nguyen personally and his capacity as a YouTuber NUSensei was not associated with or responsible for the content of the article that appeared in Archery Insights. That's exactly my wording. So that was my first request. My number one request was apology and acknowledgement, and that's the exact wording I used. So she's used that, which is great. I did not intend to have any readers believe that Mr. Nguyen was the source or author of the article, or have anyone interpret the use of Mr. Nguyen's image as a blatant attempt to exploit his popularity. That's a fair statement. I mean, between then and now, it's been like another, 15,000 subscribers, so that is a growing trend. And this is a fair apology. She then linked to my video, which is over here. And then there's an acknowledgement that the article that appeared in the Center was written by Dr. James Park, and I, as the editor, used Mr. Nguyen's photo for the sole purpose to demonstrate Bocant. And that's, I figured that this is what it was done. I didn't think it was, again, used as a exploitation or of my promotional images. It's someone holding a bow and canting the bow. And unfortunately, this happened to be me. And then there's an apology here for inappropriate use, and no further images will be used in the future. That's what I asked for, and that's fair. So all in all, this apology is exactly what I asked for. It's satisfactory to me, and the issue to me is resolved. But yeah, just to extend this discussion a bit more, why did I make a big fuss about this? There were a couple of reasons. The big one is copyright. Copyright is a very complex thing, and the thing here is that, as some of you might know about copyright law, basically either you use it or you lose it. And if I don't chase this up, then I kind of lose the right to enforce copyright at a later stage. And it might not be now, because I'm not a big celebrity now. I might be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, who knows? But if I let it go now, and this is a big deal, or it becomes a big deal, then are these trolls? Hang on a moment. Are these trolls from The Hobbit? It just looks like it for some reason. It might just be me, but anyway. So yeah, if I don't kind of take action, then I might lose my right to enforce copyright later. I'm sure copyright lawyers will correct me here, but that's my basic understanding. There's no financial gain or financial loss from this image. But I do want to use my image for my purposes, whether it's my channel or whether it's for another magazine or publication. So I do want to have control over my rights and my images. So that was one thing which I was concerned about. The other thing is that it just raises awareness to people in publications that you have to be very careful about what you take from. You have to verify the source and, where appropriate, ask permission. And this wasn't a very clear understanding, I think, of what this was used for. And that's kind of why I really made a fuss about this. This was a Google search. I mean, both the articles, or both the images used here are Googleable. I mean, that's my image. You search Canting the Bow, there's me, there's the second image. So it's a pretty straightforward Google search. But the thing that was mentioned here, well, firstly, it's not a photograph. It's actually an image. There's a difference. A photo, you take it with camera, and that's the image, or the photo. This is a still frame from my video, which I used as part of an image which I created as a thumbnail on YouTube. It's pedantic, but there's a reason why I want to say this. Because in this apology, it was made clear that I have an article, or it's a video, but let's say article, on YouTube on Bocant. So the issue is basically James Park has written an article on Bocant. I have made a video on Bocant, and the thumbnail for the video on Bocant was used on James Park's article. And that can cause a lot of confusion because people who have seen the video will think that's my article, and it's not. So that's why I really wanted to make it clear that I didn't write this, so that my viewers and people who come across me in real life, and a lot of people do, people do see me in real life sometimes, will know that this wasn't my work. So that's the apology, and that's done and dusted. So that's why I removed the original video as of today. That's done. Just to address some other quick questions which people raised before, why don't I watermark my images, or why don't I say cannot use without permission? There's one big reason, but there are two reasons why. Firstly, it's already implicit. Your copyright applies to your work as soon as you make it. Like, you don't have to put a copyright statement or a giant watermark to say that you can't use it, because it's inherent in law that you cannot just take someone's work and use it without the right authority. The second thing is, again, these aren't images. They are images, but they're thumbnails. They're used for my videos. You can see on my list here that this is all my stuff. They're not made to put in magazines or they're made to put on Facebook. They're thumbnails for YouTube videos. And nobody watermarks a YouTube thumbnail because it's a thumbnail. It's just there for people browsing YouTube to see that, hey, that's a video, that's a topic, that's me, we'll watch it. So if I put a giant watermark, a giant bright thing across the whole thing, that ruins the thumbnail. So it goes against the purpose of a thumbnail, the watermark. If I was doing a professional photo or something, then I might have to put a statement or a watermark. But it's already implicit that I own the copyright for these images I create. And I don't enforce it because, this sort of thing is not what you normally take. But unfortunately, or fortunately in some cases, Google does archive this in its search engine. So if you search up any videos, like say, bang, NUSensei, let's do it. Then all the thumbnails on YouTube appear in Google. That's just a natural result of the search engine. So that's normal. But that doesn't mean you can take any of these and use it for your own purposes. So no harm here, no foul. I don't feel bad about this, but that's worth clarifying what happened and to just say now that it's been resolved. For those who have asked permission, I do appreciate that. I'm completely fine with people linking to my videos. That's fine. That links to my channel. I still get the credit and the acknowledgement, and the views. And I'm usually okay with that. And a lot of people have asked for permission to link or embed. And you don't need my permission, but I do appreciate you asking. So that's a great thing from you guys. And again, it just makes me feel nice and fuzzy to know that people want to use my material. And that's fantastic as well. So yeah, that's the case done and dusted. I'm pleased. I didn't know about this for the last 7 months, so I'm kind of like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. But now that I know about it, then I'm pretty satisfied that it's been dealt with. And I knew right away that there was no harm intended. There was no malicious intent or bad faith. It was all in a quick oversight, and it was handled pretty professionally in my opinion. So anyway, that's my update. Thanks for following along. This is NUSensei, and I'll see you next time. These are trolls, dude. That just had to be trolls.